June 10th, 2019. First Nets possession, they got right to it, folks. Durant gets the feet on the outside and watch him go. Two-handed jam. Does he have an ACL problem? No, he's fine. Tied up 2-2, little over 7 minutes left in the first quarter. KD once again. Faces up, jumper, good. Nets go up 17-10. A little over 4 to play in the quarter. Nets up 25-14. Look at Kyrie. Crossing them up, hitting the deep three. Man, it's going to be a nice season for these guys, right? Mm-hmm. Look at them already. Nets possession up 28-16. KD, you like this one-legged fadeaway? I know you do. Nets up 30-16. These guys making it happen just under 5 minutes left. Irving throws a near full court pass to guess who? KD cutting, scoring. Yep. Just like that. Durant, Irving combining for 33 points on 57% shooting, and the Nets win it 119-114. Now, look, I know it's the preseason, and the Wizards play without Russell Westbrook and Bradley Beal, but let's take stock of how the Nets fared with both Durant and Irving on the court. In 17 minutes, the two shared the hardwood. Brooklyn shot an efficient 65% from the floor and outscored Washington by 8 points. Now, Kyrie, who's been fined $25,000 for not speaking to the media, he did talk to the media today for the first time this preseason, and he explained his reason for his initial decision.
The focus is on what's going on in the task here, my job. And I wanted to make sure that that was clear. There are no distractions, nothing about dispelling anything, nothing about going back and forth, nothing about calling out one person or another, not even to refer to you guys as pawns, or media. It's just really how I felt about the mistreatment of certain artists when we get to a certain platform, of when we make decisions within our lives, to have full control and ownership.
To finally step on that court in a game situation, how did you process it all and what did it mean?
Oh man, well, it was exciting just to get started, just because it's just been long awaited. We've been putting this thing together for, past year, ups and downs, and I think it's only fair to, admit that, when we committed here, we didn't know what we were getting ourselves into. It's not just me. I'm grateful that I get to share the floor with just so many other great players, good players with high IQs, and it's just so, so different here. I love it.
All right, he's back. He's energized. Seems good with the media. NBA reporter Malika Andrews joins us now. Malika, I look at him and I wonder what stood out to you in his comments to the media.
Well, after the last couple of weeks, Ryan, really what I was wondering is what sort of demeanor were we going to get from Kyrie Irving? When you look back at Marshawn Lynch, for example, after he didn't speak to reporters for a while, he got there and said, I'm just here so I don't get fined. Kyrie Irving today was the furthest from that. For context, Kevin Durant usually speaks to us for 7 or 8 minutes. Kyrie Irving spoke to us for nearly 20. He was introspective. He was reflective. It felt like he was being honest. So really, what we've been hearing coming out of training camp from his teammates, that he is doing well on the floor, that he is a positive presence to be around, that's the Kyrie that came to speak to reporters today, to clear the air a little bit and to reflect on what this past offseason, this unprecedented season has been like. That's who showed up, and there wasn't certainty that that's where Kyrie was going to be mentally today.
Yeah, and he really was. He was dialed in, and it was great to see him, frankly. So it was interesting. Back in October, he mentioned that the Nets didn't really see them as having a head coach. What did he say today about Steve Nash, his head coach?
Yeah. So on that podcast, he said that he thought that maybe we're all the head coach. He was talking with Kevin Durant and said, do you agree with me? We all kind of have moments where we are the shepherds of this team. And today he said, you know what? Steve Nash is deserved of respect. He has earned our respect. And so I actually think I need to walk back those comments from a couple of months ago, from that October 1st podcast, he said, because they know that he was a former league MVP. A lot of these guys on this Nets team actually played against Steve Nash. That's how close they are in age. But he has now come in as a head coach, and they really feel like he's bringing something to the table. So Kyrie Irving.
On paper, the Milwaukee Bucks look like the league's best team. Best regular season record in the league 2 years running, with a top flight offense and defense. But the Bucks have yet to turn all that regular season success into a postseason championship run. With their reigning 2-time MVP set to make a franchise-shaping decision any day now, are the Bucks' recent moves enough to keep them in Milwaukee? Winning a title would help. Here's Malika Andrews.
There's this sense that Milwaukee's a regular season team.
They've been better than the rest of the league by a mile.
And just were never right in the restart.
For the last 2 seasons, the Bucks have followed the same script. They dominate in the regular season, but fall short in the playoffs.
The Milwaukee Bucks lose. The best team in the NBA is gone.
This year, they're looking to rewrite the ending, and the stakes could not be higher. Giannis Antetokounmpo's Supermax contract looms large. The deadline to sign is December 21st.
It's not on my mind. What's on my mind is playing basketball and improving every day.
General Manager John Horst was aggressive in his offseason pursuit of a supporting cast for the Greek Freak. They traded away Eric Bledsoe and George Hill in a deal that landed Drew Holiday in Milwaukee.
Holiday from the corner, got it!
This was something that the Bucks knew they had to do. They had to upgrade this team.
It wasn't an offseason without obstacles. A trade package fell through for Bogdan Bogdanović. They pivoted to a collection of overlooked guards in his place.
For Milwaukee, that culture is we're trying to put as many things around Giannis as we can so he doesn't realize that there are greener pastures elsewhere.
The back-to-back MVP will bestow the Bucks with a vote of confidence that indeed those moves were good enough if he signs on the dotted line. And if he doesn't, the Bucks will have even more playoff pressure to ensure Antetokounmpo doesn't pen his own Milwaukee exit.
We'll see what happens. Giannis is coming off one of the best seasons in league history, but he needs some help to advance in the playoffs. The Bucks got that in Jrue Holiday, who was one of 8 players last season with an offensive real plus-minus of 2 and a defensive real plus-minus of 1. And again, Giannis has until next Monday, December 21st, to let the Bucks know if he'll sign that Supermax extension or become a free agent after the season.
And new developments today surrounding James Harden's trade request. Adrian Wojnarowski reports on the Rockets star still pushing for a deal out of Houston. Opened up on December 4th. He was allowed to do so after posting 6 consecutive negative COVID-19 tests. And we're expected to see Harden on the court in game action as early as tomorrow. Head coach Stephen Silas said the plan is for Harden to play in the Rockets' next preseason game tomorrow night against the Spurs. Silas, though, is unsure at this point how much Harden will play. And Adrian Wojnarowski and Ramona Shelburne are reporting that Harden is continuing to push for a trade out of Houston and that he's not interested in teaming up with the newly acquired John Wall, who's looked really good playing in the Rockets' first 2 preseason games. Silas had this to say to the media after speaking with Harden today before practice.
We had a good conversation, and I'm just going to leave it at that. You can ask him about his commitment and all that sort of thing, but we had a good conversation. He was locked in. He was asking good questions. He's bringing up good points. We had a good discussion. He'll play tomorrow, and we'll figure out the minutes tomorrow. As far as his commitment to what we're doing basketball-wise, he was right there. As far as the rumors and all the other stuff I can't speak to, really hasn't been that much of a distraction. I mean, it's been something that the media has been talking about quite a bit, and I've had to answer a lot of questions about. As far as our growth and our kind of pushing forward this season, we've kind of been right on pace, and now adding him and PJ to the mix just makes it better.
And we're now joined by NBA insider Adrian Wojnarowski. Woj, Harden wants out of Houston, but he practiced today and he's set to play tomorrow night. So why did he decide to join the team?
I mean, Ashley, first, professionally, it's basketball season. It's the right thing to do. And at his core, he loves to play. This is a guy who doesn't want nights off, plays a lot of minutes during the year. And certainly financially, the cost of staying away would be significant for a player of his salary, his stature. But he's come into camp with the Rockets with an understanding, Ramona Shelburne and I are told, with management, with ownership, that he is going to be a good partner with them, that he's going to be professional. Because if he wants that trade, and he does very much, what James Harden has to do is not become a distressed asset for the Rockets, make it harder for them to get full market value as they look for trades around the league. So He's there. He's reported for work. And one thing about James Harden, when the ball goes up, he plays.
That's correct. Now, there are just 9 days until we see him put the ball up. The Rockets open up the regular season against the Thunder. Where do you see things going between Harden and the Rockets up until that point?
Well, he's going to continue to push them to get a trade done. Brooklyn, Philadelphia are at the very top of his list, we're told. And I think the Rockets GM, Rafael Stone, has talked with teams, and he's given a very good sense around the league of what it's going to take to get him. There aren't a lot of contending teams, the kind of places that would Harden would want to stay long-term at, who'd want to trade for him, who have the assets. Philadelphia does. A package built around Ben Simmons ultimately might be able to get it done, but they're nowhere on that yet, I'm told. And same with Brooklyn, who'd probably have to go find a young player from a third team to satisfy Houston's needs. These talks can be funny, Ashley. They can all of a sudden start up quickly, get moving when a team decides it wants to do a deal. But right now, the Rockets are in no rush. They'll play John Wall and James Harden together. But Harden has just made it clear, nothing against John Wall. He's ready to move on. He wants a fresh start elsewhere.
Awesome. All right, Woj. Well, if anything does change, we know you will